Alrighty, folks, want to welcome you back to another video from Yates Computer Tips and Reviews. This one won't be so much on technology, and it'll probably be more of my personal YouTube channel, but I wanted to post this on both because it's more of history type stuff, and it's a review of my vacation trip. And I thought that was kind of important because a lot of people, I believe, have forgotten, again, where all the technology has come from. Where everything has come from to where we are now. So it was kind of nice to pretty much unplug, get away. Of course, I had my phone, so I had internet and some things that probably in the old days you wouldn't have had. So it was kind of nice to kind of get away from a lot of the modernized stuff for a while. But I know a lot of people nowadays probably aren't too interested in that. But took a trip to the Grand Canyon. It was a fun trip. There were some good, some bad on the reviews. This will be probably a multiple video collection so that I can break it apart because I don't want to criticize the whole trip. There were some things that were not so good, but overall it was a good trip. So this one, I wanted to start out with the first part. Is we took the railroad up to the Grand Canyon. That's actually a very nice experience to do if you like the railroads. A lot of people, I'm sure, have watched the TV show Big Bang and, Sheldon loves trains and all of this stuff. As you can tell, I like trains. I have it here in the background and all of this stuff. I like the trains. I'm interested in trains, same as that character. I don't know if there's a lot of people really out there that are really interested in trains that are older. I know a lot of kids and stuff. That's nice to do. There's lots of variety on that train. It's not all one standard car. It's all not just bench seats. You can upgrade to different classes, different kinds of seating, different kind of luxuries, dome class, or whatever. It made it really nice. That's something you really can't do on a standard train. Standard train, you have your standard ticket, standard seat. Sometimes they have a nicer first class area you might be able to upgrade to, or a sleeper or something like that. But, this was nice because you had your different styles you can choose from. But what was nice was it wasn't a modern experience. This was the old style train cars, the old style class cars. Yes, they had restrooms and stuff like that, and you got snacks on there depending on what level you bought. So it was a nice experience. It was about a 2-hour and 15-minute ride up, and then you come back with about 3 hours, 4 hours window in between going up and coming back. You can do a single day trip. We ended up staying overnight. So that'll be another video about that experience. Train ride, service, all of that stuff was good. The town that the train started in was in Williams. It's an older, small town. Not too, it's modernized, but it's on Route 66. They want to keep it to look old style, classic tourism type of thing. But it's a small little town. We were there, it was snowing, and, it was pretty nice. You get different experience. So I wanted to just do this little review to let this information out. Because, nowadays you get in the new modern trains with the stabilizations and all of this technology and all kinds of stuff that's in them. So this is where I thought it kind of falls into this category, because even to something as simple as a train, a passenger train car, has changed. It has technology. It has different shocks, stabilization, this and that, how they lay the tracks and what angles and all this type of mathematics and other things you got to know for a simple thing as a train. A lot of people probably don't talk about this anymore. It's another thing that I guess you really have to search children's programs and other things to even talk about a simple thing as a train. You know, there are certain technologies, certain other things that go into some of these trains now. You know, automatic doors, subways, that's a train. There's all this technology that can go into these things. All of these things are controlled by operating systems and, you know, all of that type of stuff. The same as in a computer. The computer technology is also behind this technology. So it kind of relayed to some of it, but I wanted to do a review on the trip. Wanted people to know because when I looked, it was kind of hard to find some of this information. I really had to look and look and look and not like what I was looking at to look for more information. There might not be a lot of people that understand that you can take that train up, stay the night, stay 3 nights, stay 4 nights, stay a week if you want, and then take the train back. That was quite interesting to me. Plus, it was kind of interesting to go up there and not have your vehicle. To be on your own, to walk around, be one with nature. A lot of this will be coming up in the next video and probably another video about the Grand Canyon. Some of the things I did not even comprehend or think of that are there, but when they talk about the Grand Canyon, they talk about the Grand Canyon, how big it is, how deep it is, the river, and all these type of things. But there are a lot of different other things that were there that make sense, but they don't talk about it enough and you don't think about it enough that it really changed the experience of the Grand Canyon. Part of it was the train. So I know the Grand Canyon is a federally preserved area that, you know, is of course one of the national parks. And, you know, everybody knows that type of information. Everybody knows you can go up to the rim and see how deep it is and go down. And you can hike down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. That's a pretty long hike. That's not like a one-day hike. That's not a 1 hour hike. There's not a whole lot of vehicles, ways to get down there from where we are at. I'm sure I saw some Jeep tours and some other things that would get you down there. But they're, you know, they're pretty pricey, you know. They have the helicopter flights, you know, modern technology and the old technology, olden day type stuff. So I wanted to bring that up to show how all these things are still merging but not dominating each other. How all the recycling. I had videos on how they recycle everything, how they make benches and all kinds of other things up there from all the waste. I thought that was interesting, so I wanted to bring this up in part of that collection. Because that is the future, that's the technology, that's, you know, of course, again, like I say, if you don't know where things come from, you don't know where they can go, and you can't know where they're going to go in the future. So I kind of thought that was interesting to see stuff like that. So I wanted to comment on that, make this short little video to make people aware of it's not just a canyon. There are other little things, a little other advantages and a little other things that are going on there that I did not know. Maybe everybody else does. Maybe they don't. But again, if you've watched all my videos, I've probably touched on a lot of subjects that maybe you haven't known, didn't know, maybe you were interested in. Maybe it'll get a spark in somebody to come up with the next generation or the next step of something, or something totally new that would revolutionize the future, the technology, the flying car, the plane has been invented. All these little things that come out talking about planes. The original Wright brothers plane is nothing like today's modern planes with all the technology and the gadgets and everything in them. So that's something, I just wanted to bring up. Because it does touch on technology, it does touch on the past, the future, and all of those things. Even a simple thing as a monitor, a TV. I remember when I was a young kid, the first little TV I bought from a yard sale that I had was a black and white TV. I'll do a little video on some of this that I'm talking about here in the future. But I remember my grandparents going with them to the store, the CVS, like the pharmacy, with the picture tubes, the glass tubes that come out of the back of the TV that you have to put in the little tester to tell if that tube's bad. And you change out the tubes to keep the TV running. I remember that when I was younger. Again, that was one of the sparks of me remembering all of those little tiny things that were kind of cool that got me into the technology. Now, a picture tube and how it worked in the TV, really, but to get me to the point I'm at, to doing videos now on YouTube, was all kind of the starting point of me getting interested. Was the picture tube, video games, when they first came out, the video game console, that was kind of interesting to me. The Apple IIes, those are interesting. Everything, you started with the floppy disk, you booted up, how it all operated, how it ran, how it started, how you got from one thing to another. That was all kind of interesting to me to kind of figure out, oh, that's kind of weird, but that's kind of cool. Those were the things that really got me started being interested in technology. So it could be just the littlest thing that gets your interest, that can get you going in a certain way. And if people don't really talk about a lot of things, then you don't know. Because it might be as simple as an old piece of technology, like a sound card that has 5.1 sound, 7.1 sound, surround sound, Dolby Digital, any of these little type of things that catch your interest. They make so many little gadgets now, a little USB that you can plug in that gives you stereo sound kind of to your headset. Any of those little gadgets can spark someone's interest. So that's kind of why I wanted to touch on something as simple as taking a train ride to the Grand Canyon. Because now, if you've watched some of those videos that I've seen, is they're using alternative fuels in those trains. It's a steam train, but it's not burning wood, it's burning stuff from trash and other composts and other things. So it kind of was interesting. But I recommend the train ride. It's very nice, very pleasant. It's something not every day you can do. There's very unique places. They're getting less and less of those places. Plus, they always talk about it's better for the environment because you're not taking your car up there. You're not burning all of those fuels. You're not putting out all the fumes and all of these type of things. So it's better for the environment. So, again, I know I've gone off subject a lot, but with the train, I liked it. And, you know, you can do your research, look into it. I'm not getting paid by them. I'm not being sponsored by them or any of those type of things. But I like trains, as you can see. I've had them up here. You can go back to my first videos. I've been there. So I just wanted to touch base on this. That it's an old school train. You can't really find too many of those. It's a nice little quiet trip. If they touched on it, if you don't want to be around kids, there's the highest class train cars that don't allow any children. So, want to touch on that. Plus, if you have children, you know you can't do those, you have to do the others. You can get up there, you can take a bus tour. They'll take you around to some of the points and tell you about the town. Tell you about stuff. That was pretty nice too. But for the train ride, you can get a package where you get the train and then get the bus and get back on and go back to town. That's part of the train package you can do. So I'm bringing it up on this point, and then you can get the hotel room too that fits all into that. All into that package. There's different hotels. Some rooms have a view of Grand Canyon, some don't. The one we were in really surprised me, and there'll be a separate video on this. It was in a different area, just down, not very far away, just down the hill a little bit, surrounded by trees. And kind of surprised me. A lot. Surprised me really a lot. Because that was not what I expected. So, there'll be a video on that. So, this should be the starter video on the hotel. First hotel. First hotel we stayed at was part of the railroad station. The hotel was okay. Had some issues with the TV, got a little too dark. The lights had the little plugs that you plug in to charge things. Those need to all be changed out. The outlets are all horrible. They've been used up so much that they don't work. But other than that, everything else was pretty nice. We had the inside room. We didn't have the outside by the parking lot. It was very quiet. If you're someone from the city and all of those type of things, that's something that I want to bring up because it's pretty quiet up there. You've probably heard about people that go on vacation and go somewhere and they can't sleep because it's just too quiet. Well, that was pretty much it. It was pretty quiet. But not too much negatives there. They had a buffet, but it was in a town that there was McDonald's and other things in that town, but you kind of had to drive because they were maybe a mile or 2 miles out. Because if you've been up to Flagstaff and you've been up to some of the other places like that, they're kind of broken up into different sections. And there's trees and some other stuff around that kind of separate things. So it's not really convenient for walking. The hotel is literally right next to or part of where the train comes out of. So basically when you get up in the morning, get all your stuff ready, you can take a bag each per person to the Grand Canyon. They'll transport it. You take it to the front desk, you set it there with them, and they transport it from there up to the Grand Canyon, to wherever you're going to be staying. There's multiple choices there. So that was nice. You know, you carry a bag with you with your water or whatever snacks you're going to need, whatever pills, medicines you're going to need, but everything else can go up to your other hotel, to your other room at your other hotel, so when you get there, it's ready for you. So that's a nice feature. It's really a luxury item that you have that service. So that's a huge plus. Plus the train station's right there where you walk out, you walk right over, and you can get on the train. before the train, they had a little Western show that went on, introduced you to characters and went all that type of stuff. Those guys were very nice. Talked about a lot of stuff before the show, very friendly. So I do recommend all of that. Even with the small little things, it wasn't enough to say anything really negative. Because you could stay other places in town. In town is right on the other side of the tracks, but you might have to go up a ways or down a ways to get a hotel. But the reason why I didn't do that, because then you have to bring your car or whatever you got from that hotel to the hotel or the depot, deal with your bags, deal with all those type of things, where the package deal, it was all together. So I wanted to touch on that. But the overall experience of the train and the hotel and all of that stuff was pretty nice. Only problem was the hotel, the food was kind of limited, because really all the stuff has to do with the train. When the biggest groups come in, when the biggest groups come out, all of that type of stuff. Town's not too far away. You can walk over. You don't need to drive, because it's maybe a quarter mile, less than that, because you come out, you have to go up to the street and cross, and you're into town, and there's a bunch of places, shops, and all that type of stuff. But, you know, you'd have to watch the hours and find out when everything opens and closes and that type of stuff. But at the depot, there they have a buffet. You can go over, get the buffet, get whatever you want. They have a little pub that opens in the evening. We ate there a couple times. Food was good. Ate at the buffet. It was pretty good. So, no negatives there. Prices were fairly okay. They're a little high, but not too bad. So, everything worked out okay. I kind of expected prices to be a lot higher because of the location, because it was total tourism. It's not like stadium pricing or anything like that. But, you know, it was nice. It was a good time to get away. Good time to relax. Of course, when we were there, you're supposed to wear your face masks. Everybody knows COVID and all this stuff's going crazy. Right now, it's going nuts here. Everything's skyrocketing, all the numbers. But, you know, this is one of the things I wanted to touch on. Well, of course, they talk about how everything's cleaned and all of that stuff. It all looked clean. It all looked nice. No issues. Properly stocked. Of course, when we were there, there's no room service, not room service, servicing of the rooms, cleaning the rooms, or anything like that while you're there. I'm sure if you need towels and that type of stuff, you can call down, they'll bring you whatever you need, like most hotels will. But, of course, that's due to COVID. That's nothing new. Been dealing with it for now, 2 years? Over a year of all of this stuff. So it's nothing new. But when we got up there, the hotel we were at was really an interesting hotel. I know I looked at photos and I looked at a lot of things, but it still really surprised me. Where they put the train passengers and stuff, they're building another area that won't be so much wildernessy as the area that we were in. Because it's older. I'm sure they'll plant more trees when they're done building that new section, so that it'll look more like the other section. But it's not what I was expecting. And that I'll get into in the next video. But what was nice was they took our luggage from the train into the room. When we got there, get off the train, we took the bus tour. The bus tour went around, did everything we needed to. Bus tour I bought with the lunch package. So we ate lunch and then we went out on the tour. And then it goes back to the depot and unloads everybody that needs to get onto the train. If you're not getting on the train and you stay an extra night or 2 or 3 or whatever amount, that bus will take you to your hotel and you can check in. And when you check in, your bags are already in your room. Everything's all set for you except for what you're carrying. So that was the huge plus of part of the bag packages. Kind of mentioned before, where you take it out of your room and you take it up front. On the way back, it's a little different. You call the front desk before checkout or at checkout, say, hey, we're leaving, what room you're in, you know, of course, your name, all that type of stuff. And you tell them, I have my bags in the room, ready to go. They tell you, you know, make sure you leave the luggage tags on that when you get at the first hotel, so it can get transported to the other location. You leave it in there, check out, leave your keys, turn your keys in, whatever you got to do, and you go out and you see the town for the few hours until the train's ready to leave. All your luggage and all that stuff gets brought back to Williams, a hotel you were at. If you're staying at the Williams Hotel where the train depot is, part of the package deal, those bags will then be put in your room for you. So once you get back on the train and you get off the train and you go check in, you get your keys, your stuff's already in your room. That was so nice. You don't have to cart that around. You don't have to deal with all of that. It's all taken care of. One of the negatives that I don't like too much is you move a lot. You're in one hotel, get on the train, you're in another hotel, how many nights you're there, then you go back and you're in another hotel. So it's a lot of, you know, packing up your bags, getting your bags ready a lot. So that's why I opted for 2 nights, because I didn't want to be constantly messing with the bags. Again, this will be a key factor to the next video, because I was surprised on a lot of things that I did not really realize was going to go on, or what was there. I expected something that was there, but I didn't realize all the other that was there. So that's kind of the shocker. So that will probably be the next video I'll touch on. Probably touch on the bus too, kind of that type of buses. I might do the bus stuff next. Or, no, I'll do the hotel and the scenery type stuff next, and then I'll do the bus. So those will be the next videos. Hit subscribe, hit the like, leave your comments, because I'm sure a lot of this stuff might shock a lot of other people, unless you've been there. And even if you have, you might have missed this next segment that I'm going to be talking about. Because a lot of people I've talked to about the Grand Canyon have talked about what I already know, that I knew of. They haven't talked about this other area. I touched on some of it, or recycling and all this other stuff. So let me wrap this one up. I'll get going on the next one, but I want to thank everybody for watching. Of course, my main channel right now is the H Computers Tips and Reviews. If you see this, head on over, watch some tech videos. Maybe if you're on my regular channel that this also will be going on to, you know, stick around. I'll be doing more travel reviews and other things when I take trips that I will be posting there. So, and again, if you're on the computer, you might want to keep an eye on the other one, because they might not overlap. So, want to thank everybody.